Hello everyone, my name is Dal and I'm the Product Marketing Manager at BigView, and I want to welcome you for today's workshop. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please let me know that you're with us today by writing in the chat over there where you're from and if you know BigView. And in the meantime, I just want to note that this workshop will be recorded and available for watching after the live event in our YouTube channel. And also at the end, as always, we will have a Q&A session, so all of your questions will be answered. So in this workshop, we will learn how to get from stressed to resilience. And for that, I invited Kristina Hallett. She is a board-certified clinical psychologist, TEDx speaker, and associate professor of psychology. So, hello, Kristina. How are you?
Great. I am happy to be with you. I am going to share my video with all of you. Here we go. Okay. So stress to resilient, because this is something that we all need. And while we're talking specifically about those with businesses, truthfully, this matters for everyone. Here's what I want you to understand about stress. It impacts every aspect of our functioning. So you can see on the screen that there's the different categories, and I'll just mention a few. In your body, when you're feeling stressed, you might notice that you're having headaches or stomach aches. You might be way more tired, and you might feel a lot of muscle tension. If we think about your behavior, you might not really feel like eating, or you might end up eating a lot more or drinking more. You might have difficulty sleeping, and actually you might find yourself to be more accident prone. Now, emotionally, this impacts us in terms of our productivity, because we can lose confidence, we can be far more irritable, and we can feel apathetic or apprehensive, like, who even really wants to do stuff? And our mind tends to worry. I know you know that. It can be difficult to think things through. We can be really indecisive and far more negative, and sometimes make impulsive decisions. Right? So none of that sounds really like what we need to do when we want to be successful in our business. So what I want you to think about is, how do we flatten the curve? We've talked a lot about flattening the curve in the time of COVID over the last year, but this applies to stress and resilience as well. So when we talked about flattening the curve in terms of COVID, we talked about a couple simple measures, things like hand sanitizer and masks. You're all familiar with that. Of course, there was the whole 6 feet distance too, but those are really simple measures that we were able to take to make a difference. The same is true in dealing with stress. Now, you've all seen some kind of curve like this in dealing with COVID, which said, hey, if we don't take any action, we're going to have things that are a lot worse. But the more actions that we take to prevent this, then in fact, we flatten the curve, we begin to have better outcomes. So what does this flattening the curve have to do with your stress? Here you go. This is your secret weapon. And it truly works. When you're feeling stressed, what I want you to do is stop. Just take a moment and breathe, and then proceed. So that's your key phrase. Stop, breathe, proceed. Why does this matter? Because when you stop and allow yourself to take a breath, you're sending an important message to your brain, really to your limbic system, to say, hey, guess what? You're not in immediate danger. Because really what stress does is it gets our brains to sort of freak out and think, there's danger. What are we going to do? And that's part of what makes it so hard to think clearly, and where we see all of those effects on our emotions and our body. But if we stop and take that breath and then continue on, we're going to be far more successful. So here's exactly what I mean. This is my version of what we saw in flattening the curve about COVID, but I'm using this for you regarding stress. Now, same kind of thing. If you're starting to feel stressed and you wait until you're at peak stress, it's going to take longer and it will be harder to calm down. Now, if you get to about halfway and implement this strategy of breathing, you can see that there's a slightly faster ability for your body to slow down. And if you do it even sooner, then you can see you've really now flattened the curve, right? So when I say stop, breathe, and proceed, I'm saying as soon as you feel that you're beginning to get stressed, that's the time. The sooner you do that, the quicker that you will recover. And there's a particular thing about breathing that I want to share with you. And this is the breathing strategy. It's often called something like square breathing or box breathing. Now, you can do a different version that's just one single breath, but square breathing is literally the thing that's going to give you the very best outcome. So we know when we take a deep breath, what we have to do is breathe in from below our belly button, right? All the way in. That's called diaphragmatic breathing. And that fully oxygenates our lungs. And it also sends not only oxygen to our brain, but a very important message to say, let's slow down that stress response, right? So that's your simple deep breath. Right? Now, if you try that, and go ahead and try that right now, you'll see that, in fact, it makes a teeny bit of difference. Now, the truth of the matter is, if you're way up here, that one breath probably isn't going to be enough, right? Because it's going to take a lot more time for you to come down on the stress. So instead, I'd like to tell you about square breathing. And that's when you inhale for a certain amount. I'll use a count of 4. And then you pause for a count of 4. You exhale for a count of 4. And then you pause for a count of 4. So let's walk through one right now. I will just guide you through it. Now I'm going to sort of draw this in the air. You don't need to do that because frankly, it looks a little odd if you do that. But what you can do if you want, and when you're practicing, is you can use your finger to maybe draw the square on the desk if you're sitting at your desk, or maybe on your leg, wherever you are. Don't do this because really people will notice you, right? This is not about drawing attention to yourself. It's about how to reduce your stress. So I'll just walk you through it and we'll try 2 rounds, okay? So breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully that's given you a little sense of what it's like. And if you weren't super stressed, then right now, hopefully you're feeling pretty relaxed. And if you have questions or comments, Tal will help me put them in the chat and we'll all hear, okay? So resilience, that what we just talked about is breathing as a very specific in the moment stress response. But resilience is how we move through stress and acknowledge that we're coming out the other side a little bit differently. We're coming out with more knowledge, with more experience, and a way to actually enhance how we're doing. How do we get to resilience? Well, you've heard these. I know you know this, right? The basic building blocks, your foundation is always going to be the same. This is not just an old wives' tale. This is literally what are the standard building blocks, the foundation of how you can be resilient. Eat well to the best of your ability, eat well and eat regularly. That sort of means staying away from a lot of cakes and cookies and things like that. Even though when you're stressed, you're going to have a natural urge for that kind of comfort food. I'm not saying you can't have it at all, but do your best to try to eat healthy. Get some sleep. Oh, this is so important. If you don't get sufficient sleep, what that does is it enhances all of those negative effects of stress. And quite frankly, you know this, if we don't get enough sleep, we become irritable and cranky the next day. So doing your best to get sufficient sleep. And one of the ways that you can do that involves having a bedtime routine. So that means things like turning off all of your screens at least half an hour before bedtime, or if not, wear blue light glasses or something like that, because I know I'm not always that good at turning off my screens. It means calm down and put things away. It means get yourself prepared for the next day in whatever way you can, so that when you lie down, to sleep, you can put aside all those worries. Now, I know when we're stressed, it's really easy to have those ruminating, worried thoughts all the time, right? Am I making enough money? What's going on with my employees? Or if you're a parent, how am I going to manage the next day, or my kids' schedules and my schedules? There's so many things that our brain just wants to turn over and over that can prevent us from sleeping. So one suggestion is to sort of do what we can call a brain dump in that half an hour before bed, and write down the list of the things that you're afraid you're not going to remember, and tell yourself, I'm going to set aside sometime tomorrow, to take care of those things. So eat well, sleep well, move. There's no way to get around this. In fact, when we move our body, it allows our body to produce, and our brain, all of the different neurochemicals and hormones that actually help us deal better with stress and be resilient. Now, this does not mean that you need to go run a marathon every single day. It does not mean that you need to spend 5 hours in the gym, because clearly we're all busy. And I know that the number one reason that people say, oh, I can't exercise, I have no time. So look for those simple steps, such as if you're driving somewhere and you have to park, can you park a few further parking spots away so that you've got a few extra steps? Or maybe you're in a house that has more than one floor, or an apartment building, and take a chance to walk up and down the stairs a couple times. Again, what we're talking about are strategies. All of these that we've talked about so far are free and they're short. You do not need to spend a ton of time doing them all at once, but work them in throughout your day. And then, as I just said, breathing, right? So eat well, sleep well, move your body, and breathe. Now, the other thing that's going to be really important is, what's your mindset? So we can have, and this is according to research, either sort of a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. Now, a fixed mindset tends to say, hey, you can see some of this on the slide, I'm either good at it or I'm not, or I get super frustrated and I give up and I don't want a challenge. But a growth mindset says, I can learn whatever I want to. Even when I'm frustrated, I persevere. And the biggest thing in a growth mindset is that failure means that you have an opportunity to learn something. We tend to freak out about that word fail, and it gets us really hung up on things. That feeling of, oh no, I can't do this right, or I'm not good enough, or I'm going to fail, all of those actually increase our stress and get in the way of being resilient. So instead, what you want to do is to say, hey, I'm going to try to learn something new. I am going to challenge myself. And I literally learn through failing. Now, if you think that's not true, think about how a baby learns to walk. Because what babies do is they sort of struggle to stand up and then they fall on their butts. And that's okay. We don't say, oh, forget it, baby. You're never going to walk because you tried to stand and you just fell down. Instead, what we say is, oh, good girl, good boy, look at you, you're trying. Trying is the important thing about growth mindset. And I want to actually connect this for a minute to Big View and what that has to offer, because I am not a video person, but the little promo video I did for this talk, I did using Big View, because this was an unbelievable opportunity to learn, grow, and instead of saying in that fixed mindset, oh, I can't do this, I'm no good at this, I said, let's try a challenge. So in truth, I recorded that little promo video 4 times. Yep, because I kept saying the wrong things, or I didn't like the way my face looked, all that stuff. But literally recording even the 4 videos, I got to the 4th one and I liked it. And then I was able to do all of the editing in it. And I did all of that right from my phone. Now, I'm not saying this, it sounds like I'm totally here to promote this, but what I'm saying is, this is an example of using growth mindset to learn something new and learn something that's actually going to help you in your business. So instead of thinking, I have no time, I don't know how, I'll never get this done, or I'll never succeed, let's try a growth mindset approach that says, I will set aside 5 minutes to walk up and down the hall. I will learn something new, like using the Big View app. I will allow myself, when I feel that sense of stress or in my stomach or my head, or I'm just super cranky, to take a few of those breaths, because those are the things that truly make a difference and build resilience. Resilience is a muscle that we need to practice over and over again. Now, I know you can do this because literally, as human beings, we are wired the same in that sense. That is how our nervous system works. And some of you skeptics are saying, "Ugh, that breathing thing, it has never worked for me." But really, it does. It does, I promise. The only reason that breathing hasn't worked for you in the past is either you've been doing it wrong, like breathing shallowly, which frankly, if you breathe shallow without fully inflating your lungs, it's going to increase your sense of stress and anxiety. So let's not do that. I don't even want to practice that with you. Or the other reason it may not have worked for you is that you haven't been practicing the breathing enough and you've waited too long. Remember, in that curve, you've waited till too long in the cycle. So it doesn't it's not a magic wand. It doesn't take away what you need to do. But when you combine a growth mindset with eating well, sleeping well, moving your body, and breathing, then what you have is resilience. So the other piece that comes as part of resilience is taking care of yourself. This is so important. And this is another area where people are always saying, "I don't have the time for self-care." And I'm saying, actually, you do, because all those things we just mentioned are part of self-care. But there's one more thing, and it's super free and super easy that you can use, and that's gratitude. I included here for you to see some of the benefits of gratitude, such that gratitude can help you, when you practice it, be more forgiving, to feel less lonely, to actually feel more optimistic. But when you look at your physical health, you tend to have lower blood pressure. You sleep better, your immune system is stronger, and you tend to be more alert, alive, and awake. What do you need to know about gratitude? It is not just saying a list of things that you don't really mean, like, yep, I'm grateful that I have a place to live and a dog, right? That's not what I mean. I mean the feeling of gratitude, because this is an actual practice. It's not just a thought, it's a feeling. So it's maybe noticing something beautiful outside. You might see this screen behind me. It's one of the things that I just love, because I love this kind of picture. So if I'm having a hard time feeling gratitude, I might just do that stop, breathe, and proceed by looking at something that I think is beautiful and that allows me to connect to that emotion of gratitude. And as we practice that, we get more resilient. Now, final component, and this is so important, and this completely connects to you and your business, which is self-compassion. So remember when I said about growth mindset and fixed mindset, that fixed mindset, we can often get frustrated and discouraged. But with a growth mindset, we're actually treating ourselves with self-compassion. And self-compassion has three components: common humanity, recognizing that you're a human like every other human, and there's no such thing as perfection. Kindness, which means treating yourself with the same kindness that you would treat someone that you love and care about. And mindfulness. And mindfulness literally means being aware in the present moment without judgment. That can be really hard, and that's why we're talking about self-compassion. So another way you can think about mindfulness is courageous presence, recognizing that it can be hard to be present with yourself in the moment without judging or going through all the lists of things that you feel you didn't do well enough. I'm hoping that you can see, as we combine self-compassion with growth mindset and those other building blocks, that suddenly you're in a position to actually feel better about yourself. And we all know when we're having a good day, business goes better, we do better, we're more productive. Instead, on the other hand, when we're going through our day saying, "Oh, I'll never get this right, my boss isn't happy with me, I can't manage this," not only are those things connected to fixed mindset, but they actually decrease your productivity. Here's one more plug for self-compassion, because the research shows that when we engage in self-compassion, we are able to more consistently feel compassion for others. And mostly that's what we want to do, right? We want to care about other people in our lives and have compassion for them. But to do that effectively and to sustain that, we need to work on self-compassion. So here's a little acronym that I've put together for you, and it is the practice of bold self-compassion. It's really simple. Bold, be, breathe. Do I keep mentioning breathing? Yes, I do, because it's literally your secret weapon. It's the most important thing. Breathe. O, own your feelings. Recognize how you're feeling, and instead of giving yourself a hard time about it, recognize, hey, I'm feeling stressed. Hey, I'm not feeling like I've been producing the way that I am. Whatever those are, recognize those feelings. And then L, let go of that negative self-talk. That's working with that growth mindset and letting go of the negative self-talk. And then D, do something kind for yourself. That can be a small thing. It can be, this is a way to combine all of them, making sure that you take a lunch break today, right? Something like that. Letting yourself just relax for a little bit without continuously worrying. If you practice bold self-compassion, breathing, owning your feelings, letting go of negative self-talk, and doing something kind for yourself, what you're going to see is that your business will thrive because you're not going to be making those impulsive decisions. You're not going to be cranky. You're going to have better customer interactions. You're going to make wiser decisions, and you're going to have the energy to do the work that you're committed to doing. I want you to connect all of these things together because it absolutely is possible to be resilient. Finally, I just want to share a few apps. All of these are free. So these are other apps, and I have no personal connection to any of these, except these are apps that I know really make a difference in helping you stay on track. So for example, Breathe to Relax helps guide you through that deep breathing if you really need some help rather than just doing it on your own. The Calm app is something that allows you to have some mindfulness and meditation. It's wonderful, and there's a lot to choose from. COVID Coach is a newer app, but it has lots of different tools as part of it that can help you be present and to manage stress sooner rather than later so that we flatten that stress curve. There's also Insight Timer and Life Armor that are similar. There's Mindfulness Coach. If you think, oh, that mindfulness thing just isn't for me, that will walk you through really mini mindfulness sessions. Same thing with Mind Shift. Shine has all sorts of positive information for you. And Think Up is another app that I want to tell you about. Because in Think Up, they've got thousands of potential affirmations that you can use, or you can come up with one of your own and you record your voice and then play it back. Think Up, for me, is similar to Big View in that it's a very short thing that I can use that can absolutely help me in the moment to get to where I want to go. So I'm going to stop sharing there, and I am back here. Let's see if we have any questions.
Okay, so thank you so much. Feel free to ask questions while we're talking. I will send in the chat Kristina's information and also Big View's information. And I just wanted to note that making videos can be very stressful for some people, business owners, and Big View gives a solution for that. Basically, you can write your script and stop rambling, and you can deliver your message precisely and to the point. And yeah, this is it.
I really agree. That's why I truly I used it, and it was a challenge because I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I had an opportunity to be stressed about it or to use exactly what I'm telling you, that growth mindset, and let's try it out. And it was great.
Yes, I definitely agree. And I like that you did a few takes. I think a lot of people are afraid of trying, but practice makes perfect. So
Yeah.
just try. Okay, we had a question from Joanne. Not this one. She had another one. This one. If she may share this information with her clients and family.
Absolutely.
Okay, feel free. Like I said, it's recorded and you can find it in Big View's YouTube channel and you can show it to everyone you want. Let's see. We have this one.
Oh, yes. Okay, so it is so true that as helpers. And I will say, particularly this past year has been very hard for those in any kind of helping situation. And that could mean as a medical or mental health professional, but that could also just mean as a business owner who's trying to help out their families and their employees. But what I really want you to know is that, yes, when you get to that place of burnout, you do feel empty. It does feel like you've lost your resilience. And that's why I'm reminding all of us about these steps. They are simple, they are low cost, and that's how we build up again our resilience. So it didn't go away, it's sort of in hiding, and it does tell you that you probably need to practice some of these steps a little earlier.
Okay, great. Um, okay, we have another one.
Oh, if you could practice gratitude every day, I would be delighted, and so would you. It truly makes a difference. Also, this is something that you can do at any moment in the day. So often, I like nature, right? Nature really works for me as a way to feel gratitude. So when I'm driving around, I look for something that I can appreciate and then sort of take that into my gratitude practice.
Okay, the next one is from Brooke.
Oh, anxiety before speech. So here's an interesting thought about that. Number one, the biggest fear that people have is public speaking. So if you're feeling anxiety before a speech, know that you are not alone. I do this professionally all over the world, and yeah, I still get a little anxious. Now, here's the thing, a little bit of anxiety is great for you because it makes you actually think more clearly, you're more on point, and you're focused. So we want a little bit, but not too much. How do I stop from having too much anxiety? I do that breathing. I am not kidding you. That square breathing makes a difference. Of course, the other thing I'm going to say to you is prepare. If you know what you're going to be talking about and you're comfortable with the material, it's going to be a lot easier to calm your mind. The final tip I want to give you about public speaking and any kind of speech is remember that you're there to share something with the audience. It's not about you. It's about the information that you want to share. So we don't have to actually worry about us. This isn't, is someone going to like me or not like me? This is saying, hey, I've got something that I know makes a difference or that is helpful, and I'm going to share that so that you're thinking of it as a gift you're giving them rather than the spotlight's on you.
Okay, the next one is this one.
When you go for an interview, you become confused. Oh, and thank you for the nice comment as well. I understand, right? And the confusion happens literally because you're feeling stressed and you're worried. Am I going to get the job? Are they going to like me? Am I going to be good enough? Look, here's what I want you to know. You are worthy no matter what. You don't have to earn your worth or prove your worth. You are simply because you're a living, breathing human being worthy. So let's try to put that aside and instead, like I said, get a good night's sleep before the interview. Prepare so that you know what you're going to be talking about or what job you're looking for, right? That always helps. And then do a couple of breaths ahead of time and just say, I'm in here, and here's where growth mindset comes in. Because all you can do is your best, right? And sometimes your best isn't a match for them. And sometimes there's still a mistake. That's okay. I make mistakes all the time. That's how I learn and grow.
Amazing. Okay. Um, Joanne said about your script for today.
Oh, no, I did not. No,
Perfect.
no. So for me, when I'm doing a presentation on material that I know what I want to say in general, but I don't have it as a script. I did when I did the promo. I tried it with a script and without a script, and I had to change the speed of the teleprompter a lot because apparently it was going slower than I was speaking, and there were all these pauses while I was waiting for it. So learning to use the teleprompter was really great. I just didn't happen to use it for this presentation.
Okay. And we have a question from Crystal. She's asking about if BigView has this option of presenting the question. Actually, we're not using BigView right now. We're using Restream. It's a streaming platform. So no, but we will have more things to come in BigView that can be interactive with your audience. So wait for it. Okay, let's see if we have something more. I think this is it. I will send again, if you have questions for Kristina, I will send her details. And also, if you have questions for Big View, you can always contact our support team. And I want to thank all of you for coming. And of course, you, Kristina, for a fascinating and really important workshop.
Thank you. It was such a pleasure. And seriously, everyone, please come back, listen to the recording, and practice these things. It absolutely makes a difference.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.